Recording in progress.
Excuse me if I mispronounce anyone's name. Chair Eggleston Chesowitz.
Present.
We have Commissioner Ulinskis.
Present.
Commissioner Willis.
Present.
And Commissioner Pease.
Present.
All are present. Or we have quorum.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any agenda changes?
There is one agenda change, so that is reflected in the packet. That would be the chair and vice chair elections, and I have some further updates on that agenda item, but it is removed and postponed to a future agenda.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment on items not on the agenda?
To the chair, I have no request to speak at the moment.
Okay, thank you. So then shall we move into the staff report at this point? Schedule? We can do the schedule, sorry.
City
It's
official
not showing
reports.
here. Yeah, city official reports, yes.
All right, well, bear with me while I share my screen here. Well, good morning. It's a lovely morning in June. Here is the meeting schedule. We do have a board member, a planned absence, Vice Chair Roman, for this meeting today. At our July meeting, we have the chair's absence, and then we have a planned absence in fall listed on the screen. So if there are any planned absences, please forward that either to my direction or to our new member, Sam, who is filling in today. So I did want to provide some announcements here. So I was a guest speaker at the 2025 California Preservation Foundation Conference in May. I discussed some discretionary reviews with 4 other jurisdictions. There also is some upcoming events that are happening in the month of June. So that would be on June 18th. So that's the Fred Eyerly Tower Well Park dedication. That is on Wednesday at 4 p.m. and the location is 201 Alma Street. There was an email sent out for a required anti-harassment training. Please complete that by July 30th. I will send up a follow-up email, just checking in with you all on that. And as noted in the agenda changes, the chair and vice chair elections will be held potentially at the August 14th meeting. The bylaws to require a full board attendance in order to have a vote. All right, well, when we do have a full board member attendance, we will host the chair and vice chair elections. So, and with that,
September.
Perhaps September.
I actually wanted to flag something about the anti-harassment training.
Okay.
I've been in touch with city staff about this. I don't know if this is impacting anyone else. I'm experiencing pretty significant login issues where it's failing and not letting me continue. So I don't know how pervasive the problem is. And if it's just me, we're going to get sorted out. But
I believe
wanted
that
to
there was
mention it.
some login issues. HR does manage that. So if you refer to the email that was sent out, it should have some next steps, if you will. And I can entertain any further questions.
then I think let's continue on to today's agenda.
Sorry, Stephen, just when we do the subcommittee assignments, I think it would be nice to have the name of the subcommittee there too, instead of just 1, 2, 3, 4, the work plan goals. Sorry. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. Just because I had to look them up.
All right. We can make that change.
Okay, let's continue on then to our first agenda item, which is 411 Kipling Street. And can start with the staff report.
All right. Well, here we are at 411 Kipling Street. So little bit of wayfinding, if you will, orient ourselves. The location is in the downtown north neighborhood. The zoning district is the commercial downtown district with a pedestrian shopping combining district. Some site development. The property was built in 1902 by George Mosher, and between 1902 and 1925, a rear addition was added to the structure. And in 1989, some new stairs and railing at the entryway were added as well. Since the 1980s, there have been no documented alterations on the site. As for its designation on the inventory, it's currently a Category 4 major building of regional importance. Category 2, excuse me. And it was previously a Category 4. Sorry, I misspoke there. And if you recall, back in April 11th in 2024, the Historic Resources Board reviewed the category upgrade and recommended to Council for that Category 2 designation. And Council ultimately approved that in September 9th in 2024. So the application that we have here before us today is for a bonus floor area request. So bonus floor area or transfer of development rights, the TDR program, is available for qualifying rehabilitation projects on historic inventory Category 1 and 2s within the city. So some of those further requirements are that they're located in a commercial downtown area, and either public facilities or city-owned property, as well as some extensions within the SOFA, the South of the Forest Area Phase Plan. And the project is a Category 2. It does have a rehabilitation project, and it's located in that commercial downtown district. So a little further on that, the municipal code provides that there can be a floor area bonus of 22,500 square feet or 25% of the existing building, whichever is greater. So for this property, the request is for 2,500 square feet. And getting into the proposal, the meat of the project, if you will, the initial request was submitted in October. There was some revised plans submitted in April of this year, and Page and Turnbull had prepared a Secretary of Interior Standards compliance memorandum and submitted that to the city on May 12th. And that's attachment B of the packet. So in short, there are accessibility upgrades and rehabilitation work. So that is noted in packet page, go over here. Packet page 8, and the project description on page 8 doesn't note that there are some rear additions. So I'll walk you through the plans, and the applicant's project presentation will provide a little bit more detail on that as well. So if we go through what's existing, here is the plan of the property. And then proposed areas are highlighted in yellow on the screen. So that would be a new deck in the rear, an accessible path to that, a wheelchair lift in the rear, as well as some accessible new handrails on the front of the building. And if we go through, this is the rear elevation, what's existing, and what's proposed. So as noted, it would be the new deck, and behind that fence is the wheelchair lift. Here's the front of the facade. And here we are again, noting those changes of the rear deck, as well as the front stairs. And here is a rendering of the proposed work in the rear. So onto recommendations. Staff concurs with the findings of the Page and Turnbull evaluation and supports the property owner's request for their floor area bonus. So the Historic Resources Board today is requested to recommend to the Director of Planning and Development Services that the project conforms to the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation. And I can entertain any further questions, and I believe that applicant has a presentation as well.
There any questions at this point? No. Okay, let's move on to the applicant presentation then.
Just bear with me here first. Let's see. Oops. Hang on 1 second. I'm at the end of the presentation. There we go. Make sure it's gonna. Interesting. Well, I'll advance sort of improvised here. Good morning, Chair Suslowich. My name is Ken Hayes with Hayes Group Architects. I'm pleased to be here in front of the rest of the board this morning. I'm joined this morning with my client, John Shank with Thwaites Brothers, as well as Mason Hayes, the designer in my office. We're also joined by Jen Hembry from Page and Turnbull on Zoom if there's any questions related to the Secretary of the Interior Standards. And I want to thank Planner Switzer for helping us bring the application before you this morning. So 411 is located here. Can you see it?
No. It's not appearing on our screens right now.
Huh. It's frozen on mine. All right, I gotta force quit Zoom. Apologize.
Oh, no problem. You said, yeah.
Force quit Zoom. And it's not quitting. There we go.
I do have the presentation slides, so I can perhaps share those if.
Yeah,
That'd be
I'll
helpful.
hand this to my
Okay.
IT department. Right. All right, so Stephen, if you could go to the first slide after the title slide, basically shows where I sometimes wonder why I need to do the presentation. Stephen did such a great job in explaining it, but I will walk you through it. And I'll see it too, right?
Yes, bear with me while I'm going through here.
You want to try it on this? Are we up?
We're about to be.
Okay.
Yes, we can see that. Thank
All right,
you.
well, I can't see it over there,
Oh,
so
no.
I'm just gonna
Okay.
have to, it's all right. I'll know when the slide advances, I'll ask. So 411 is located here. It's on a block of square cottages that were constructed in the late 19th century, early 20th century. Every single structure on that side of the block is either a category 2, 3, or 4 historic resource in Palo Alto. Next slide, please. It was constructed as a residential unit in 1902 by G.W. Moser. Can you go a little bit higher there, maybe? Yeah.
Sorry, my mouse is acting up.
Yeah, and as you know, from your positions here on the board, he's a prolific contractor and craftsman from the early 20th century here in Palo Alto and built hundreds of homes in the formative years. This is a square cottage, which was a popular building type among sort of working families in Palo Alto at the time. Next, well, you can hang out here for a minute. It's decorated with stylistic elements of colonial revival and Queen Anne, and other than modifications to the front stairs and the railing and so on in the back of the building, it's really retained its original form. Next slide. and the front porch and the Tuscan columns that are being not completely displayed. The wood siding, the windows, next slide. The cornice, next slide, and frieze and dental molding wrapping around the building, all are character defining features. It was raised by your board here to category 2, and the council confirmed that last year. And we are now proposing rehabilitation in compliance with the Secretary of the Interior standards. Next slide. And that's the existing plan. And the areas that I outlined are the areas that are being affected. So at the front, next slide. Yeah, at the front, we're going to be replacing the non-historic front porch and stairs and railings with a new porch or new stairs, basically railings with cheek walls on either side. We'll be creating an accessible path from the sidewalk in the front entrance that'll go around on this slide, be the top of the slide and down the side of the house to a new accessible rear entrance. We'll be installing a platform lift at the rear of the building at that entrance so that we're not sort of interfering with the integrity of the front. But that provides a clear path to the rear of the building where there'll be the lift. It will be replacing the non-historic rear deck with a new deck and stair so that you'll have a larger area kind of to go into the building. And then there's a gate on the east side as well that we'll be replacing with a new gate. We'll be removing the non-historic door and 3 windows that are on that rear back porch addition. And that's where we have the intervention of the new windows and the accessible door. And then the deck kind of relates to that. And then there's general rehabilitation of the wood siding, the dentals, the trim, the sash where it needs to be for the windows restored. And so we'll do an assessment of the existing conditions out there and make those improvements in compliance with the Secretary of the Interior standards. Materials, well, actually, there's some views. There's some more views than what Mr. Switzer showed. So this is the back kind of looking towards the west, I guess, shows the gate on the left that you would come in, and then the lift would be immediately to the right of the gate there, yeah. And then a set of stairs that go up to the back porch, which kind of becomes a sitting area out there. That's all going to be stained redwood in the color that was on the finish board that I think you might still have in front of you. Next slide. From another angle, kind of the other side, you can see the door to the lift right there. And then the new windows and the door, accessible door into the building. Next slide. And then at the front of the building, the new stair railings and cheek walls. And we're differentiating all the new work so that it's distinct and separate from the historic. And so there's no confusion we have 1x, instead of beveled siding, it would be a shiplap siding. And then we would be staining that. So the materials include the shiplap siding, the new wood windows, metal railings, the stained wood deck and fence, and we'd be repainting the entire building once we do the restoration work. So as you know, because Stephen just explained it, Page and Turnbull has reviewed it for compliance with the Secretary of the Interior standards, and they found it to be in compliance. So we're looking forward to getting started. And the first step is to have this discussion today and get your recommendation to the director. All right. So any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for the applicant? Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, the decision to go with casement and fixed on the new rear windows instead of doing double hung like the existing front, was that driven by the desire to make that change again distinct from the
A little
original?
bit more differentiated, correct? Yeah.
Okay.
So on the square footage under the TDR, is some of that being used here and then some, no?
No, it'll all be available for transfer off-site.
Okay.
No other questions? No, none from me. Okay. Is there any public comment on this particular agenda item?
Through the chair, I've received no public comment.
Okay. Does the board have any, discussion items? Do we want to, anything to chat? No? Okay.
Well, I just want to say it's so nice to see something actually being taken care of instead of demolished. And, it's nice to see these every once in a while. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Speaking for myself, this looks like it complies.
I agree.
I agree.
Then I'd like to make a motion that the HRB finds that this proposed project at 411 Kipling Street complies with the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation.
I will happily second that.
Okay. And we have an absence, so can we voice vote it or do we vote individually today?
Voice vote would
Voice-
be fine.
That's fine. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have voted unanimously in favor. Okay.
All right.
So then moving on to the second agenda item, which is 431 Kipling Street.
All right. Bear with me while I share my screen here. So if we take a trip down the street from our last project, we'll find ourselves at 431 Kipling Street. So it's also located in the commercial downtown zoning district with the pedestrian shopping combining district in the downtown north neighborhood, as highlighted in yellow here. A little bit about the site development. This property was built in 1901 by George Mosher, the previous builder of the other project. In 1919, in addition to the residence, along with some construction of a garage and a removal of a rear outbuilding occurred. And here are some Sanborn maps that detail that change. A little bit further on some site development here in 1938, there was a purchase of the property and converted the lower unit to a window shade store that operated until the 1970s. And in the 1980s, the current property owner took ownership of the property. And since that time, Vino Local has operated on the first floor of the commercial unit. As with the other property, this is currently a Category 2 major building of regional importance. It was previously a Category 4 contributing building on the city's inventory. The Historic Resources Board recommended an upgrade on June 11th in 2024, and council ultimately approved that upgrade in September 9th of last year. So, as noted, these floor area bonuses and the transfer of development rights are available for qualifying rehabilitation projects of properties that are historic categories 1 and 2s. And if they are located in the commercial downtown area, this property is a Category 2. It does have a rehabilitation project and it is located in the downtown area. And the applicant is requesting 2,500 square feet, since that is the greater value of the 25% of the existing building for floor area. Getting into the proposal. So the initial proposal was submitted on October 16th. Revised plans occurred or were submitted, should I say, to the city on April 17th. Page and Turnbull had prepared their Secretary of Interior Standards compliance memorandum and submitted that to the city on May 12th, and that is attachment B of the packet. So in short, this is similar scope for some accessibility upgrades and rehabilitation work. So that is noted in the packet, a little bit more in depth of those detail items. And I will walk you through those changes on some plans. So here is the site plan of the property. So this is existing. The areas highlighted in yellow would be the proposed areas of work. So that would include an accessible path to the rear and a new accessible bathroom, wheelchair lift, and some stairs. So here's an elevation of the front. Highlighted in yellow are the proposed changes. Here's an elevation of the rear. Highlighted in yellow are those proposed changes. Side elevation. Again, highlighted in yellow are those changes. The other side elevation. And highlighted in yellow are those changes. I do have one rendering here. Actually, I have two on this one. So here is the rear of the structure and another rendering for the proposed work in the rear. So with that, staff does concur with the findings of the evaluation of Page and Turnbull and supports the owner's request for their floor area project. And the Historic Resources Board today is requested to recommend to the Director of Planning and Development Services that the project conforms with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation. And I can entertain any questions.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board at this point? No? Okay, let's move on to the applicant presentation then.
So we're going to try it again and see if I can control it. Not that Mr. Switzer didn't do a great job, but.
Yes, we can see it.
Good morning again, Chair Sislowich and members of the board. So this project also being promoted by our client, the Thoits brothers, who have done much work in Palo Alto historically and the preservation of the history of the town. And this project is, again, Mason, it's not working. I'll have to do it like that. Okay. So also on Kipling Street, and this is a two-story square box, but it joins the other square cottages along Kipling as a Category 2. And the building was elevated last year from a Category 4 to a Category 2. It was constructed. It was constructed as a residential home in 1901 by the same builder, G.W. Moser. And like I said, it's a square cottage, a two-story cottage, which is also a popular building type for working class residents. It's decorated with elements of colonial revival and craftsman. And other than the 1919 rear addition, it's really retained its original form, the front porch, the columns, the rafter tails, the shirtwaist belt course, which you see here, and the flared wood shingles, which you can see. It's had a lot of detail on this building, and the tongue and groove siding windows, and many of them have a checkered mullion and OG lugs detail. We are proposing rehabilitation in a compliance with the Secretary of the Interior standards. This is the existing site plan, and the area is kind of shown where the affected area is, although it does extend to the, that's the sort of the east, I guess, on the top of the sheet. But let me go to this plan here. The work will include replacing the non-historic front stairs located here, new railings, and in this case, instead of cheek walls, we're using planters that will sort of be like cheek walls on either side of the stair. There'll be a new accessible path that's highlighted here that'll come down through a person gate to the backyard, where as you go around, the lift will be located here. That's a new accessible lift that will take you up to this level. Also a new stair with railings going down to the backyard where they have a dining area currently right now. And then that deck would extend in. This is the new accessible toilet room on the interior. And then we'll be doing restoration to the openings as part of that. We'll be replacing the roof on this project, repainting the entire exterior of the building, and doing the same kind of restoration to the wood siding, the details, the columns, the rafter tails, once we do a thorough inspection of all of that. There's some views of that's the porch with the planters on either side. This is the rear area where you'd come around here, and the lift is on this side. So it creates a very direct pathway, I think, for servers and employees to get to the backyard, which is a dining area. And then kind of a view from above. So you see how that lays out. And again, the improvements that we're proposing were reviewed by Page and Turnbull, and they found them to be in compliance. And so just like 411, the next step is to get your recommendation to the director to recommend approval of the rehabilitation plan. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there board questions for the applicant? No? Okay, sounds like there are not any questions. Yeah, thank you so much. Again, speaking for myself, this project looks to comply with the Secretary of the Interior standards. If there are other board members wishing to discuss.
I love that this building is being saved and really made to function well. I got to express a little bit of disappointment, and I know it was already there, that the back really isn't reflective of the age of the building at all, and only because I like to hang out back there. I think, I'm somewhat disappointed that there's not more sense of permanence in the back rather than such a broad expression of the adaptability, which I appreciate too. So I know it's conflict, but I'd like to have both, please.
If I may,
Yes.
I don't believe that we took public comment on this item, so.
Sorry, yes, thank you. Okay, let's wrap up with the discussion, and then I'll make sure we get that in there.
All right, I do have one question, which is, this house seems to be framed relatively high above grade. And I'm just curious why, or if you ever looked at the option of maybe raising grade in the back so it wasn't so many steps, and that, the accessibility challenge wasn't, I don't know, as big. Was that a possibility that could be looked at?
We never considered that kind of intervention to the site. I mean, there's also a garage structure that is used for storage at the end of the driveway. And so we did not consider raising the grade. There's a stair. It's a very complicated house, as board member Willis probably, if you've spent time in that backyard. I mean, there's a stair that goes down to the basement, and halfway down that stair, there's a stair or an opening that goes into the back porch, and then you go up a little stair to get to the main level. And we're kind of getting rid of, and that's all in this non-historic addition. We're getting rid of that. Then there's also a stair that was probably from the 70s or 80s that was added at the back of the building that goes to the second floor. So there's a lot of complications in adding it, let alone what that would mean in terms of site drainage. And if we'd get into C3 requirements for stormwater, and how do you keep those? So we did not consider that kind of intervention, to answer in short.
Okay, thank you.
Let's address the public comment at this point. Is there any public comment on this item?
Yes, through
Oh,
the
thank you.
chair. We have one request to speak.
Okay,
Our first speaker and only speaker is John S.
okay. Thank you.
Hi, thank you all. John Shank with Thwaites Brothers. I don't have any specifics about the project, but I just wanted to thank you guys for your time, for your service, Stephen for all of his work. The Thwaites family has been here, I think I've shared before, but since like the 1890s. There's a picture of one of the Thwaites back on the wall behind me. Got accommodation in our office for having helped draft the city's charter back in, I think, the 30s. Need to say 1930s now, I guess, right? It's not we're getting close to 100 years. We very much enjoy and love the historic fabric of the downtown. And so when we have these opportunities to take care of these properties, we really love it. Love working with Ken and Mason on seeing this process through, and just want to thank you guys because we enjoy it. We think it's a really important factor for Palo Alto in the long run, and that's it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any additional speakers?
To the chair, we have no request to speak.
All right, thank you. All right. Are there any additional board member comments or interest in discussion? No. Okay. Then I would like to move that the HRB finds the proposal for 431 Kipling Street to be compliant with the Secretary of the Interior standards for historic rehabilitation.
I second that.
And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Great.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
time this
you.
morning. This is a great opportunity, I think, on Kipling Street. So
Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. Looks like our next item is the approval of minutes. We are looking at, there we are, we're looking at the minutes from the, no, hang on, sorry. That didn't look right. Okay, the April 10th meeting. Are there any comments or requests for changes? No? All good? Okay. All right. Then I would like to move to approve the minutes from the April 10th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, passes unanimously through a voice vote. And then finally, I think we're looking at any other like comments, announcements, future meeting, business, that kind of thing. Are there any? No?
I actually, so I don't know if we want to agendize this, but I'm just wondering, so we went through this inventory process and I'm just wondering if we have sort of a guide map for anybody that wanted to add their property to the inventory. I mean, I'm optimistic that, maybe some of those people who said no might want to come through. But I'm just wondering, is it just something they should just go to staff with? And so there's no easy way to look online and say, I just need to do these 3 things and quietly get my property on the inventory. No.
If
Do you
I
have-
may,
yeah.
short answer, yes, please come to staff. And we do have a designation or reclassification process guide that we recently updated that is available on the website. So that provides a step-by-step process, if you will, of what's required to designate or reclassify your property.
Fantastic, thank you.
And I can share that with the board as well. So.
Thanks so much. Anything else? No? Okay, then I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Thank you.